Today's episode of the Bleav in Steelers podcast is brought to you by betonline.ag. Week 5 of the NFL season is here. Postseason baseball is here as well. And if you want to place a bet on the action, Ike, BetOnline is the place to do it.
Yeah, I placed a bet last night on BetOnline with Justin Tucker. He came through for me. Mr. Clutch.
You can head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Don't forget to use our promo code Bleav, that's BLEAV, to receive your bonus. They've got football, basketball, boxing, a lot of casino games as well. Don't wait to take advantage of all the great offers through the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, cue the music. It's time to start the show. And welcome to another edition of the Bleav in Steelers podcast on the Bleav Podcast Network. I'm your host, Mark Bergin, joined as always by my guy, two-time Super Bowl champion and 12-year veteran of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Ike Taylor, and IT, just in time for the weekend. I see you got your fancy hat. How are you doing this morning, my man?
It's the flamingo hat I got going on. He's just in a great state of Florida, Sunshine State, man. It's nice outside, damn near 24/7, 365. So, we do got this bipolar weather, man. It'll be sunny, then it'll rain for like 15 minutes. Then the degrees are like amp up for like another 5, but you got to love it, though, Mark. So, yeah, I'm doing good, bro. How you doing?
I'm doing great as well, Ike. And game recognizes game. I see you got the color coordination going on this morning, so I had to say something right off the top. We are recording this on Thursday. This episode will be out Friday morning ahead of Steelers against their Week 5 matchup against the Denver Broncos. And Ike, I got to congratulate you as well. You called it on Monday before we got the injury report on Tuesday. Big Ben already dealing with the shoulder injury, now has a hip injury. Psychic Ike is out on the Bleav in Steelers podcast yet again. I just want to say you nailed it on this one, Ike.
Man, it's crazy, but I'm just looking at it, a struggling quarterback right now who will be in the Hall of Fame in 7. They're 1-3 in their division. They still got time to bounce back out of their division, but it's not going to be easy at all. You're going against another AFC opponent, the Denver Broncos. I think if Teddy Bridgewater play, Pittsburgh has trouble. If Drew play, I think Pittsburgh would take that W. But 7 just struggling right now, and we want to blame everybody else. And it's the offensive line, which the offensive line the last couple of games, they've been playing really good. You got some receivers who are pretty dominant. Chase Claypool didn't play last year, but James Washington, he always come up clutch. You got a stud and a rookie running back in Najee. You got a few tight ends. So right now, 7 admitted it too. Like, he got to get back to playing his style of ball. But, his style of ball is it's catching up with him. So 7 has to get under center, like we've been talking about the whole time since the summertime, Mark. But it's just will 7 want to get under center consistently, and just look how he won Super Bowls. He won Super Bowls of scrambling or making huge plays, being clutch when you need to. And as you get older, you just got to readjust your game. And I don't know if 7 right now wants to readjust his game. But if you look at the Aaron Rodgers, if you look at the Justin Herberts, if you look at the Russell Wilsons, if you look at the Patty Mahomes, if you look at a lot of these, the Trevor Lawrence, either young guys, like, you have to be able to get under center to hand the ball off. Also, it comes with the play action pass, So that's just what it is. But, yeah, I called it a long time ago as far as, like, 7 or the Pittsburgh Steelers try to save face and not say they're going to bench 7. So we'll see if some more injuries come up and they're going to say 7 needs a break because his body is taking a toll. But I just thought they was going to do that, just looking at it just to save face. You're not saying you're benching a Hall of Fame quarterback. What you're saying is his body is banged up, and his body is banged up. But you're going to say his body is banged up for the year and let the young guys start just to make it look good. Put a little cherry on top of it. But you ain't fooling old Ike Taylor.
Ike, it begs the question whether he's comfortable doing that at this point in his career at age 39 in year 18, or whether it's Matt Canada, the new offensive coordinator as of this season, is willing to do that. And if he just wants to put Big Ben in shotgun. And we have asked that question before. Still don't have a great answer for that. A few stats I want to run you through, Ike. We were talking last week where if you look against the Green Bay Packers, Big Ben goes 26 of 40. Just looking at the box score, 200 and some change, a touchdown and an interception. You just look at the box score and say, well, is it that bad? But he's checking down. He's throwing underneath. And when the Packers were up multiple scores, they're keeping everything in front of them, and he's taking what's underneath. So here's what I mean by this. Shout out to the Bleav in Steelers podcast research staff finding this. Big Ben's thrown 52 passes on third and fourth down this season. 24 of them have been short of the sticks. And that was really my big issue coming out of that week 4 loss to Green Bay, Ike, was on 2 fourth down conversions where you got to have a conversion. The Steelers throw short of the sticks and fail to convert the first down. We also saw that in week 3 against Cincinnati, which was a beautifully disguised, what appeared like they were bringing the house was zone coverage, and they eat up Najee Harris in the flat. That happened, a similar situation, trying to go to Najee in the flat on a fourth down, throwing short to Juju Smith-Schuster on a fourth down conversion against the Packers. That's been my frustration. And it's not just what my eyes are telling me, Ike. It's also what the stats are telling us with Big Ben in this offense as well.
Yeah, they just haven't gotten the rhythm, just period. And we keep saying, what is the Pittsburgh Steelers offense identity? And right now they have none. Usually you can game plan like we're going to run the ball because we feel like we can run the ball on this team. They can't do it. We're going to pass the ball because we feel like we can pass the ball in the secondary. They can't do it. So when you have no identity, man, it's just hard to win games in the NFL. Plus, your quarterback got to be playing well. So I just don't like the fact, man, they blame everybody else but himself. If you just listen to people.
I'm with you, Ike.
Yeah, it's everybody else. It's the offensive coordinator fault. It's the O-line fault. You can't talk about the receivers because since I've known Pittsburgh Steelers, all they have been doing is drafting top-notch receivers since I've been there. Then you look at the running back situation. You always had a solid running back situation. Give or take about 2 or 3 years out of Seven's career where the O-line wasn't okay. But other than that, he always had a nice O-line. You know what I'm saying? But and that's the whole problem. So Pittsburgh just need to suck it up and move on from Seven's side and the organizational side. They need to suck it up. Thanks for everything you have done. We'll see you in the Hall of Fame and move on. Because I'm just looking at the AFC North, and we can even take it further than the AFC North. If you just look at the AFC period with these young quarterbacks, the Justin Herbert's looking good as hell. The Lamar Jackson looking good. We'll see what's up with Baker Mayfield if he can win some games on his own without the running game. Joe Burrow and company, you can see he's up for something. Patrick Mahomes. So you got Patrick Mahomes, you got Justin Herbert, you got Josh Allen, you got Lamar Jackson, you got Joe Burrow, you got Baker Mayfield. You got 6 studs right now. Honestly, you got 6 studs. That's just what it is. So if you can't beat out the 6 and 7 is number 7 in that ranking, something is wrong. You got to move on because these guys ain't doing nothing but getting better. They're emerging. They're becoming real live superstars. So now you just got to wait. Pittsburgh got to wait a couple of more years, and we'll see if the defense still intact in a couple more years. Get you a new quarterback, see what the quarterback had, if he has potential. And you don't even know if you can keep up just period in the AFC period. So that's all I've been saying about Pittsburgh, man. Like, you're holding on for too long. You're holding on for too long, man. That's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just looking at it from an organizational standpoint. Hopefully Pittsburgh as well can look at it from that standpoint too.
The forest between the trees, Ike.
Yeah.
The big picture though. You mentioned the other AFC quarterbacks, and I look at just the Steelers offense again, year 18, age 39. The highest percentage of pass plays through 4 weeks, the Steelers have that at 73% of their offensive plays are pass plays. And through 4 weeks, yet again, the Steelers sit dead last in the league in rushing 221 yards. So we've talked about this before, and we'll keep banging this drum. Even if you have elite quarterback talent, it's not a recipe for success. And I go back to what you say about the identity of the Steelers offense and the struggles. If we're not there ready to see Mason Rudolph or Dwayne Haskins, I think we're awfully close. And I'd be a proponent to see what those guys could do, and especially Haskins, because he's only under contract right now through this season. Rudolph, you've got through the 2021 season and the 2022 season. So, unless we see drastic improvement from Big Ben almost immediately, and I don't see that happening, I'm ready to give these young guys a chance just to see what they can do, because, and like you said, it's no knock on what Big Ben's accomplished. Right. It's not. Yeah. But it's just, what have you done for me lately this season? And then dating back to last season when you lost 5 of your last 6 and you've lost 3 of your first 4 through 2021. I want to move to this trade, the Patriots sending Stephon Gilmore to the Carolina Panthers. And I just want to state this, only trading a 6th round draft pick. I want the call logs of every NFL GM. If that's all that it took to get an all-pro player, a player who's won NFL Defensive Player of the Year, how is every team in the league not trying to poach Gilmore from New England? Send me the call logs, Ike. This was unbelievable to me. The Panthers getting a tremendous player for a 6th round pick. I was blown away by this trade.
Yeah, Patriots really wanted to get rid of him.
For whatever reason.
That's how. For whatever reason, Mark, the Patriots really wanted to get rid of him for a 6th round draft pick. But if you just go back, everybody you thinking ain't gonna be a high round straight draft pick. Usually people who get everybody else is 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th rounds, and that's what people gotta understand. So you gotta look at what round did Stephon Gilmore go in. You gotta don't look at his value now. You gotta look at what round he went. Okay, now he's coming off of injury. So he's coming off an injury. Then we have to pay him. So for me, for a 6th round draft pick, I just look at it, man, like the Patriots, and their coaching staff, they just want to get rid of him. They just want to get rid of him. Or who knows? Maybe other teams just wanted the Patriots to release him and was going to pick him up off of waivers and see what up. So I guess the Patriots wanted to get something for him, because I guarantee you, everybody was waiting on that release, because that release was already out before the trade happened. So it was already an anticipation on, Stephon Gilmore will be released because of, and it was like, nah. So, why not give up a 6? If I'm the Carolina Panthers, that's a win-win situation for me. If I'm the New England Patriots, we just don't know on the other side if teams want to trade or give up a pick for him. So that's what happened.
Yeah, he's on what's called the PUP list, Ike. Physically unable to perform, the PUP list. Not eligible to play until week 7. He's coming back from a torn quad injury from week 15. He had surgery from a year ago, so still kind of working his way back there. But just I'm looking at his accolades, and I see Super Bowl champion, Defensive Player of the Year in 2019, 2-time first team All-Pro, 4-time Pro Bowler, led the league in interceptions in 2019. I know he's 31, but I still think there's some gas left in the tank. And again, for a 6th round pick, send me the other call logs of the other 31 NFL GMs, because if they weren't on the phone trying to answer something a little bit more lucrative than a 6th round pick, this was just maybe someone made a better offer, but New England wanted to send him to the other conference. But I see a 6th round pick just given his resume, Ike, and I just couldn't believe it.
So, Mark, you got to put your GM hat on. Take the resume off.
Okay.
How can he help me coming off a PUP that I won't see him till week 7? Then
at the earliest. At the earliest.
At the earliest. Then he has to get in game shape. So hopefully that'll be 3-4 more games. And he's 31 years old. So obviously you got to take a cylinder out that engine. So it goes from a V7 to a V6 because Father Time always wins. So then you got to look at how does he fit in our defense and will he be able to stay healthy? So as a GM, them all the questions you got to ask yourself. Now, once you give them to the coach, it's coach, here you go. Let's get this guy in a situation to where he make plays because that's what he always do. But as a GM, Mark, you gotta check off all the boxes. You just ask yourself, can I get a younger guy for cheaper who doesn't have a quad injury, who's dealing with a V12 engine, and I can kind of mold him? Or do I have to overspend for a veteran guy because I'm looking at his accolades? Because we can go back to what you just said with Big Ben. What have you done for me lately? Well, of late, I've been hurt for the past year and a half. So that can't help an older guy. Maybe if he was 22, 23 years old and he had a quad injury, we would be saying something totally different. His bounce back will be different coming off an injury. But you and I both know the older you get, the harder it is getting up out that bed. And add along being a professional football player. So that's some questions you have to ask, Mark, when you put your GM hat on. I get what you're saying with the accolades. I want you to put your GM hat on.
I need a hat that has like a third of the swag is the one that you're wearing right now, Ike. I don't have anything nearly as cool.
Hey, Amazon Prime, baby. I get all my stuff.
You deliver Mark Bergin a hat mid-episode, mid-podcast to the Bleav It Steelers podcast. All right, Ike, I'll put my GM hat on, hypothetically, if you will. I want to play a little bit of role-playing situation here. New segment here on the Bleav It Steelers podcast. I have a hypothetical trade, and do you want to be Steelers general manager Kevin Colbert or Bears general manager Ryan Pace for this exercise?
I'm gonna be Steelers general manager Kevin.
Okay. I'm gonna be Ryan Pace. I'm gonna give you a call. So, hey Kevin, it's Bears GM Ryan Pace. How are you doing this morning?
What's up, Ryan? How you doing? I'm doing good. Just trying to win some damn ball games.
Yeah. It looks like Big Ben, year 18, age 39. You need some quarterback help. I have too many on my roster. Looks like Justin Fields is going to be the guy for us moving forward. What could I get back for Andy Dalton?
Nothing at all, because we definitely don't want them.
Okay, so you didn't want to send us you could send us head coach Mike Tomlin. We'll send over Andy Dalton. We'll call it a wash. How's that sound?
That don't sound good at all. I guess I just really this must be a prank call, so I'm just gonna go ahead and hang up on this one.
All right. Before you do, you sound like you're out on Andy Dalton. I understand he played for your division rival in the Bengals. Any interest in Nick Foles? We've got a quarterback. We have too many QBs on the roster. We're looking to unload one, and clearly you need one over in Pittsburgh.
No, I like Mason Rudolph and Dwayne Haskins, so I'm going to keep what we have right now. Andy Dalton and Nick Foles are damn near the same people.
Okay. So we'd like a 5th round pick, a 6th round pick wouldn't be the 4th round pick, maybe any draft picks. That's not enticing at all to you.
No, hell, you could have gave me a 0 round pick. That means before.
All right. We'll see you later this year. I know our two teams play. I bet it's just like, why would I help a team we're going to play later in this season? But I figured it was worth the call.
Hey, good try.
All right. Take care now.
All right, you too.
What do you think? My trade proposal is crazy? Andy Dalton to the Steelers? I think it could help both teams, Ike.
Not at all. Andy Dalton is Mason Rudolph and Dwayne Haskins. That's just what he's been over his career, So that's just what it is. He had a plethora of good talent when he was starting with the Cincinnati Bengals. A lot of good talent at the wide receiver position, at the tight end position, and at the running back position. So his ceiling was only so high when it came down to being that kind of quarterback the Cincinnati Bengals was looking for.
It seemed like they were in the playoffs, if not every year, every other year. And then it was just like, you can't get by, that first round to get a playoff victory. So I'm with you, Ike. I've seen some rumors out there. And again, it's like, again, you also have the sentiment of, we don't want to sign a player that played in our division and everything too. But if the viewers and listeners like that segment, let us know. I figured we'd try it out. I've seen it on other shows. Like, I had fun with that. But if you ever want to role reverse that scenario, Ike, where you want to do that with me, feel free. I had fun with that, though.
Gotcha, bro.
All right. Other week 5 matchups before we get to our Broncos and Steelers prediction. Ike, Packers and Bengals, 2 3-1 teams, just like we thought before the start of the season. I tell you what, Bengals are pretty frisky this season, and Joe Burrow looks like he's coming back from that knee injury strong. They've got a lot of good young receivers to help him out as well. But 3-1, like I said, just like we thought between both Green Bay and Cincinnati.
His name is Joe Mixon and that offensive line for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah.
Joe Mixon been saying this during the preseason that offensive line is real nasty. And they like to get down dirty and they like to run the ball. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're having a good balance between passing and running the ball, but they can run the ball when it's time to run the ball, when they want to close games out. And the offensive line is asking to run the ball when they're up by a lead so they can close the game out and put their body weight on a defensive player. And that's exactly what they're doing, man. The Cincinnati Bengals, that offense, man, that offensive line, they playing with attitude. They playing real nasty. They playing low down and dirty, and they playing old school football. That's all they want to do is smash faces. So the Packers on the defensive side, they have to be ready for that because Cincinnati, not only does they have the confidence in Joe Burrow, but, man, you got Jamar Chase, you got T. Higgins, and you got Tyler Boyd. So you got 3 guys who can all ball out on the outside, and you give them a bar-fighting offensive line with Joe Mixon sitting in the back staying healthy and Joe Cool sitting back there passing that ball, looking all cool, smoking a cigar, or one of a kind that is. Man, they're going to have hell. The Packers going to have hell this week, even though I like the Green Bay Packers. I'm going to go for the Cincinnati Bengals over the Green Bay Packers this week.
I could go back to what Solomon Wilcots told us a few weeks back when we did the cross show with the Bleav in Bengals podcast. That offensive line is part of the identity of their offensive line coach, Frank Pollock, as well. So
yes,
I go back to what he told us with that. This is one of the premier matchups I have. Bengals at home as well against Green Bay, and especially considering the Steelers lost to Green Bay last week. I want to see what the Bengals do against the Packers in week 5. Another AFC North matchup, the Browns going out to LA to take on the Chargers as well. The Browns just got by the Minnesota Vikings in week 4. Right. Chargers have been hot with Justin Herbert atop the AFC West. I know that going into the season, they were the sexy team. But I tell you what, too, especially coming off for the Chargers win on Monday Night Football against the Raiders, Derwin James, he's been healthy again. He had an interception in that one, too. He's been a playmaker for the Chargers. But this Chargers team looks damn good this season, and I think that this is the premier matchup in week 5, Browns at Chargers.
But so does the Browns. So the Browns have that playoff recipe. And I got King Kong and King Kong Jr. in the backfield. So that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to hand the ball off to Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, which they've been doing. Now, last week, Baker Mayfield didn't have a good week at all. He probably played one of the worst games. I don't expect Baker Mayfield to have another worst game like this. I expect him to get in the rhythm, hand the ball off, play action pass, make some plays with his feet, throw some splash plays when it's time to, when he's scrambling. That's what I expect of Baker Mayfield. Now on the Cleveland Browns defensive side, I expect him to do the same. I saw Greedy got one of his first picks so far coming off. So now you're starting to see an injured Cleveland Brown team. Now they're coming healthy. Now they're getting in a groove. And the Myles Garrett, man, you might as well put him up for Defensive League MVP just as well as Michael Parsons, just as well as Aaron Donald. So there's a few guys that I'll put. But Myles Garrett, man, so far, man, he's just been balling out. He's been a personality. Since he have taken his sleeves off, he's been getting tested of late, and I see and I wonder why, man. He's been manhandling men. That's exactly what Myles Garrett has been doing. So this defense now, I think, is getting in the groove. the Cleveland Browns defense I'm talking about. I think they're getting in the groove. I think they finally getting healthy, and it's going to be scary. It's going to be real scary, especially when you got to stop the run. Not only OBJ is coming back, we'll see if Jarvis Landry is back from his injury. But hell, man, this offense it's a playoff contending offense. It's just going to be up to Baker Mayfield. On the Chargers side, there is nobody who made a more leaping of a jump than Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert from this year, he looked like an 8-year veteran. By the way he's using his eyes and manipulating, whether it's a linebacker or whether it's a safety, and throwing the ball to where he needs to. So it's just, and the team is feeding off that. So they have a quarterback now, and I'm talking about the LA Chargers. They have a quarterback now who can win them ball games, who doesn't have to rely on the defense, who doesn't have to rely on the run game. And that's what the Cleveland Browns want Baker Mayfield to do. They want Baker Mayfield, at least if we got 17 games, at least 5 of those games, you win this on us, because our running game isn't doing good and our defense isn't playing up the part. Baker, can you win us a few games? So, but that is what Justin Herbert is doing over there with the LA Chargers. So it's going to be fun, but I still got the Browns going into LA, having a good time, having lunch or dinner at Nobu, coming out with a W at SoFi Stadium, and getting back to Ohio.
I want to talk a little bit more about Herbert in just a second. I want to stay with the Browns defense, though, for just a second here. I know Myles Garrett gets a lot of the headlines and a lot of the attention, understandably so. If not for contracting COVID last season, he was up for contention for Defensive Player of the Year. But a player that you need to watch on this Browns defense is the rookie Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, the Browns' second-round pick linebacker out of Notre Dame. The speed that he plays with is unbelievable. And I'm telling you right now, as much as you like watching Micah Parsons of the Dallas Cowboys, keep an eye out for JOK, or they also nickname him Woo for short. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah for the Browns defense has been outstanding so far this season. He would have probably been a first-round pick if not for, I Bleav he had like a heart issue ahead of the draft. Right. And when he was still in the second round, Andrew Berry and company, the Browns GM, were just amazed that he had fallen that far in the draft. So they're getting a first-round talent in the second round, and he's been everywhere on the field for this Browns defense. You tweeted something, Ike, about Justin Herbert, though, that I thought was really interesting. The Dolphins might have, I think you can already say they made a mistake drafting Tua over Justin Herbert, even though we're just a few years out from that. In year 2, we're seeing what each quarterback can do. And I don't think there's any question you could see Justin Herbert's a special quarterback. And for whatever reason, Tua just hasn't been able to stay healthy, something he also struggled with injuries when he was still quarterback at Alabama.
Yeah, Tua got that Jimmy Garoppolo in him. And I hate to say that. For some reason, the injury bug always just seems to bite him. You know what I'm saying? And it's not good for those two guys. But I look at these great quarterbacks in the colleges they went to. We don't even really know their receivers. Like Justin Herbert, who was his 2 receivers? Who was his running back? And that's what you got to look at. When you look at Tua and when you look at a Mac Jones, and you was like, well, who was their receivers? Well, shoot, all 6 of them went first round. Well, who was his offensive line? Well, shoot, all 4 of them went in the top 40. Well, who was his running backs? Well, at least 6 of them went in the first or second round. Well, goddamn, he had an NFL team sitting at Alabama. Yes, and that's the only question I have about Alabama quarterbacks is they're not going to have the talent in the league that they had at Alabama. Even though their talent, they throwing the wide open guys because damn near everybody, whether you're on offense or defense from Alabama, you're going to go in the first 3 rounds. When you look at the Justin Herberts, when you look at the Aaron Rodgers, when you look at the Big Bens, when you look at the Dan Marinos, when you look at the Jim Kellys, when you look at the Brett Favres, when you look at guys who just made it in the NFL, they had the talent, but now they get to the NFL like, oh, I finally got a receiver, or I finally got me an offensive line, or I finally got me a running back, or I finally got me a defense. Those guys carried their teams to wins in college. They didn't have to rely on the offensive defense. And that's how I look at it. When I look at Justin Herbert, He had the size, he had the speed, he had the throwing mobility, he had accuracy. It was just he was carrying Oregon. When I was looking at Oregon, I was like, he's carrying Oregon. So now you get him a Keenan Allen. Now you get him a Williams, a Mike Williams. Now you get him a Cook. Now you get him a running back. Now you give him a defense. He like, oh, I can have fun. It's time for me to have fun. Well, let's get this party started then. So that's what you got to like about those guys. So that's how I look at it, man. I always look at quarterbacks, what school they went to, were they ever the man? Was it them or were they in the system? Did they have a defense? Did they have a wide receivers, an offensive line, a running game? No, they didn't. But they wind up getting drafted high? Yes. Okay, it's a reason why. So then I just try to analyze from that standpoint. But coming from Alabama, it's hard for me to believe in Alabama quarterbacks. And that's just no knock. It's just they are already an NFL pre-made team.
Well, and to think that all of this started with Herbert because the team doctor punctured Tyrod Taylor's lung ahead of a game, and like 10 minutes before the game, it's like, hey, rookie, you're playing, you're in, because Tyrod Taylor can't go. Like, to think that it all started this way a year later is just absolutely, it's unbelievable. I'm with you, though. I'm going to go with the Browns in this matchup, just given their running game. And really my measure of will Justin Herbert really take that next step of the next level will be this. Think about how many opposing teams' fans go to Chargers games. Traditionally, it's almost like a home field advantage on the road. At what point does he start to get some Chargers fans and say, you know what, I'm going to support Justin Herbert as a quarterback at home when they're playing in LA? That's going to kind of be my measure is this guy legit to where they develop a fan base there, a Chargers fan base while they're playing at home. But I'm going to go with the Browns, just considering like whenever you make any kind of analogy, and specifically car analogies, when you talk about Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, it's like I'm all ears whenever you do that. So just given that they're able to run the football effectively, I'm going to go with the Browns here. One more matchup I want to get to in week 5, Bills at Chiefs. If the Chiefs can get back to above 500, then the Bills are 3-1. And considering the one loss came from our beloved Pittsburgh Steelers, to me, the big question is just what can we expect from this Chiefs defense? We know what they can do offensively, but if this Chiefs defense continues to struggle, I think long-term it's going to hamstring this team moving forward. We know what the offense can do, especially if they're not turning the football over, they're hanging onto the football and protecting the football. But this defense is just a mess right now.
Yeah, I think it's a wrap for Super Bowl for the Chiefs. You know, I think the Chiefs will forever make the playoffs. I think coming out the AFC now is just a wrap. I think now they said it take 2 years for defensive coordinators to understand your offense or to attack your defense. And that's exactly what everybody doing now with the Kansas City Chiefs defense. They just attacking their defense. And how are they attacking their defense? They just running the damn ball. They getting 2 tight ends, or they're bringing an extra offensive lineman in. And they're running the ball. They keeping Patrick Mahomes sitting on the sideline. Hopefully he could throw it out and not get hot. That's just basically what they're banking on. And making Patrick – and they're making and they're making Patrick Mahomes kind of think and dunk throughout the whole time. So they put the top over the roof. Instead of having them big splash plays, you got to go 15 plays, Patrick Mahomes. We're not going to get that one deep play to your guys you like between Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hills and Hartman and all those guys. We're just not going to let you keep putting us on ESPN. We're going to make you go and see. So it's going to be slow and boring. Now, if you want to go in this slow and boring route, it's cool with me, but you're going to have to take it. And that's what they're doing to Patrick Mahomes on the offensive side. So it's just going to take – and, you know, it's hard to hold Patrick Mahomes and company, you know, but at the same time, if that defense keep giving up yards what they're doing right now, they forever will go to the playoffs because of Patrick Mahomes. They won't win Super Bowls with that kind of defense.
Yeah, I actually do like the Chiefs in week 5 against the Bills because the Bills aren't Josh Allen, great player. They've got a nice receiving core led by Stephon Diggs and everything, but the Bills aren't great at running the football. I like Singletary, but that's just not something that plays to their strengths. And that's something that where they've been better this season. They're in the top league this season, but dating back to last year, running the football wasn't this offensive strength. It was Josh Allen and his incredible improvement in his accuracy throwing the football. I do like the Chiefs in week 5, but long-term big picture, I'm with you in the sense that the big question I have has nothing to do with the Chiefs offense. It's how effective can this defense be? And it's a mess right now. Who do you like in week 5 in this matchup, though, Ike?
Yeah, I got the Chiefs as well. I think the Chiefs will go. The reason why I got the Chiefs because I agree with you when it comes down to the running game for the Buffalo Bills. They really don't have a running game like that, So, and that's going to play in the favor for the Chiefs. So I think it's going to be a shootout, but I think the Chiefs going to come out with the W.
All right, Ike, we're going to go to week 5, Broncos at Steelers. Broncos come into this game at 3-1. Steelers are 1-3. But you look at the opponents' records. The Steelers' opponents' records are 12-4. The Broncos' opponents' records are 5-11. Denver's 3 wins come against the Giants, the Jags, and the Jets. They lost in week 4 to the Ravens. But I think that I was shocked that the Steelers were favored. Pittsburgh is at home at Heinz Field, and when you have 2 pretty even teams, the home team is usually given about 3 points if you look at the spreads. I think you nailed it on the head, though, Ike. It really depends on whether Teddy Two Gloves plays on Sunday. For my prediction, if he does play, I've got the Broncos 20, Steelers 17. I've got the Broncos taking care of the Steelers on the road at Heinz Field. But what say you, Ike Taylor? What's your score prediction for week 5?
Yeah, for me, it just depends on who's playing. If Teddy Two Gloves play, I got the Broncos. If Teddy Two Gloves don't play, I got the Pittsburgh Steelers. And when it comes down to who they've been playing, Pittsburgh been playing some good teams. The Broncos been playing some, I don't know, kind of teams. But by the end of the day, that's still building confidence on that team, regardless on who they're playing. So if you just look at Von Miller and company as well, we can talk about him when it comes down to defense too, Von Miller as well. Von Miller and that defense is getting back to the old kind of Broncos defense. And you like the lead of Justin Simmons sitting back there in that secondary, handling his business and making plays as well. So it's just right now, but everybody's just rattling around Teddy Two Gloves. We will see what happens with this concussion protocol. Hopefully he can shake up out that thing if he passing up tests and the doctors clear him. But at the same time, man, Pittsburgh has been playing good defense. The offense do have to come around, and how you come around offense, Steelers just run the damn ball.
I'm not even going to take you through any stats, Ike, because you're talking my turkey here.
Perfect.
Yes. A lot of injuries in this one, too, Ike, for both sides. Patrick Surtain, the second, has a chest injury. Another cornerback out for the Broncos, Ronald Darby, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler as well. So they're kind of beat up, but then the Steelers injury report, the big question I have is who's playing. It sounds like Chase Claypool's going to try to give it a go with that hamstring injury. I'd expect Juju to be back out there, rib injury. Cam Sutton has a groin. One player in the injury report, I was surprised to see, and I guess he's going to try to play and suit up. Cam Hayward with a neck injury, and his importance to the Steelers defense, the whole house falls to the ground if he's not out there on the field. He's been the one consistent for this Steelers defense this season. So I hope that's not a lingering issue for him as we move forward, because to me, the defensive success that the Steelers have had, really the team success, all starts with him up front.
If Cam is not playing, Pittsburgh ain't winning. That's just period. If Cam Hayward don't play, Pittsburgh will not win.
Yeah. Quick stat before we sign off here, Ike. When he is on the field, the Steelers' run defense allows only 3 yards per carry, a 44.4% run rate success. When he is off the field, the Steelers allow 8.1 yards per carry, a 76.5% run success rate. There you go.
Man, I appreciate that background right there, but that's a hell of a stat right there.
You tell me each week. It's I know TJ Watt gets a lot of love. I think he's played well when he's been healthy, given that contract extension, but you got to go even further interior on the line. It's a line of scrimmage game, Mike.
Yes. If Cam ain't playing, Pittsburgh ain't winning. Period. The Cam is the MVP of that defense. We can talk about all the other guys, but Cam is the engine, Cam is the engine. Some of them guys are the paint jobs. Some of them guys are the shiny wheels. Some of the guys are the interior leather guys. But Cam is that damn engine. He is the engine.
Our viewers and listeners, don't know if this is a show about the Steelers or if it's a show about cars and vehicles. I love it.
It's a little bit of everything.
Ike, you're my guy. You're the absolute best. I want to give a shout out to the Bleav It Steelers podcast over at the Bleav Podcast Network. The folks over there, also the help and support from Brinks TV, led by John Brinkus, Courtney Vargas, our guy Herbert behind the scenes. Today's sponsor, Bet Online, and to you, the viewers and listeners, we appreciate you tuning in to the Bleav It Steelers podcast.
Go place a bet online for the Steelers and Broncos game. And if you're watching boxing, make sure you go to Bet Online and place a bet between Tyson Fury and company and Wilder. Gotta give
who you got in that fight, Ike? I know you're a big fight guy.
Tyson Fury.
Hesitation.
Yeah.
No hesitation.
Wilder, but Tyson Fury is a boxer. Wilder is a fighter. So they say in order to beat a fighter, you got to box him. In order to box a boxer, you have to fight him. That's just what it is. But I got Tyson Fury all day, no hesitation whatsoever. Got to give a major shout out to Bet Online. I'm sorry. A major shout out to Brinks TV, Miss Courtney and her crew. Huge shout out to Bleav It Steelers podcast for asking and giving Mark and I an opportunity. Got to give another shout out to my dog, Mark. It's always a pleasure doing this good work, what you're doing in the football season and year round. Got to give us a major shout out to the viewers and the listeners. Make sure y'all rate and review us, that 5-piece spicy, because every time we get on this goddamn tube, it's spicy. We like to talk spicy stuff on here. So just want to appreciate everybody for tuning in, listening to us. Thank y'all. Peace.
For Ike Taylor, I'm Mark Bergin. Thank you for listening to the Bleav It Steelers podcast. Enjoy the Week 5 action. We will see you next week. Take care and so long, everybody.
Peace.